Hello and welcome to episode 69 of A Gamer Looks at 40. I'm Bill Tucker, and welcome to the Zelda edition of the 3 Questions episode. Now, if you've never heard of the 3 Questions or new to the show, let me give a brief explanation. At the beginning of every interview I conduct for this show, I ask my guests the same 3 questions. And these 3 questions are very hypothetical, silly, goofy questions intended for no real answers and just to get us talking, get us chatting, kind of get the juices flowing, as they say. And what I do is I ask the different groups of people the same 3 questions. And once I get enough answers to those 3 questions, I put them into an episode. That way we get to hear a bunch of different people answer the same 3 questions in different ways. Lots of responses, lots of fun. This is a neat episode to do in the midst of all the regular sort of content on this podcast. This time around, we have 13 people. I did a lot of interviews for this show. When I do the wrap up, I might have to throw out some statistics on how many interviews were done, hours, etc. It was a lot. And so here are the people that have participated in the 3 questions. And these questions are all Zelda themed, as you would think, being this is for the Zelda series. Reminder, there are 13 people. Don't expect to remember them all, but maybe get a pen out, write it down, or the list is in the show notes. In order of speaking, we have Seth, the gentleman who remastered the CDI games, who goes as Dopley, Christian of the Franchise Festival podcast, Dan of Retro Logic, Helena, aka Hell Hath Fury on TikTok, Ian, also known as Teacher Bloke 85 on Twitter, Jim of Drink a Beer, Play a Game podcast, Jodi, aka Quail on Twitter, Justin of Killer Quail Studios, Knight Gareint, Trevor and Jeff of the New Dad Gaming podcast, Seth Sergil of the All In podcast, Phoebe, aka the Let's Play Princess on Twitch, and then finally, Games with Coffee. And without further ado, the first question. If you had the opportunity to hang out or spend time or, hey, maybe even go on a date, if that is your preference, with one character from the Legend of Zelda series, who would you hang out with and where would you go?
I'd probably hang out with, what's the name of that guy from Ocarina of Time? The Goron sage? That guy?
Oh,
I forgot his name right now.
Shoot, yeah, the Goron stage. You may want to learn his name before we actually get on the date. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. The Goron stage. Why him?
Well, I like his dance moves.
Okay.
He seems like a really fun-loving guy.
I think so. He'd be a fun to go to like an arcade, maybe a little dance, right? Just kind of get down with that. Okay. I'm into that. I like that. That's a good answer. Because he does seem...
Darunia, by the way. I totally blanked on that. Sorry, Darunia. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. He'll forgive you. He seems like a pretty jovial kind of dude. That's awesome.
Golly, that's a tough question because all of my favorite characters are the high-strung weirdos. Like I think of Beetle, right? The merchant who's in Skyward Sword and Wind Waker, and I think he even turns up in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, yep, he's in Breath of the Wild. Yep.
Yeah, he's a hoot. You know that guy is. What's he say? Like, thank you. He's a lot of fun. So like he's who my mind first goes to, but it sounds exhausting, doesn't it? You know, he'd be a real hassle to be around. And I think of that strange big-headed little kid from Twilight Princess. You know,
I think I know who you're talking about.
The little entrepreneur. He starts a shop in Castletown, and he seems like kind of a hoot as well. Real strange energy about that kid, but also sounds pretty exhausting to be around.
Yeah, a lot of energy. You'd have to be able to keep up, and it wouldn't be a long hang, right? I can't imagine spending like 8 hours with Beetle. But I dig that. I really like the energetic, charismatic characters, I think, are the ones that I'm attracted to as well. Honestly, I said this on a different answer to this. I'm playing Wind Waker right now for the first time. First time. And I'm loving it. I'm adoring it. I kind of want to hang out with Tingle a bit. I think Tingle and I would get into some hijinks. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just a pleasant guy, isn't he? He's maybe a little bit overly concerned about the copyright on his maps and so forth. But, if you leave that aside, as long as he's not accusing you of corporate espionage or something, I think he'd be a good time to hang with, get an eye on the open ocean.
You gotta just stay on his good side, right?
Exactly.
Don't get on Tinkle's bad side. No one.
He'd be good to go on a hike with, wouldn't he?
Yes.
He'd want to see everything.
He would want to see everything, and he'd have maps for everything. You'd never get lost. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, Tinkle's a good choice.
Gosh, if I'm gonna go gallivanting about town with a Zelda character, any Zelda character, not like
any of them,
NPC, whatever.
Any of them. Yeah, pick one.
I want to go on a date with Marin.
That's a good pick.
Take her to coffee.
Yep.
Have a chat. She's my Zelda character crush. So
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. So you'd go to. So it would be a very kind of a laid back, just kind of a hang.
Yeah.
Like literally just a hang.
Very chill. What's it like to live in a dream world? Yeah.
Obviously, the only answer is Nibiru. Of the Gerudo tribe.
Sure.
She's the second in command. And Nibiru knows how to party. How I know this, I don't. However, I can speculate that Nibiru throws down. And she is the type who would go to a hole-in-the-wall bar and get in a fight and break some pool tables. We would just have a blast. So, yeah.
That sounds rad. I love that. So you are fully expecting to bail her out. Like you're just, okay, that's in the budget. We're going to have to bail you out at some point.
Oh, I'm going to jump in and help her.
And someone's going to, well,
we're
of
both
course.
going to fight.
Of course of course you're a good friend like that. You're not going to leave her hanging and not leave her swinging by herself. I like that. I think that might be the first one I've received where it's like, no, we're going to go out and we're just going to cause trouble. Like we're just going to mess some stuff up. Yeah. I love it. Love it. Fantastic.
Ooh, that is a tough one to begin with.
I mean, you know how this works.
Yeah. Dompe the graveyard guy from Ocarina of Time. I'd like to go I'd like to go hang out with him and try and cheer him up. I'd take him to a comedy show.
You'd take him to an open mic somewhere.
Yeah.
Nice. Just because he is so downtrodden, he may need a laugh. I like that. Very good. Okay, very cool.
What do you call it? I am the beer guy, and my biggest Zelda time was on the N64. So who was was it the dad from the Lon Lon Ranch who was kind of the mess? Always looked a little bit on the tipsy side. Looked like a guy to go out with.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I'd have to stay on brand and go with him then.
Okay, I like that. The dad from Lon, who always looks like, last night was kind of fun, regretting it. Is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah, but I would want to do it at like a bar inside like Goron Mountain or something like that. Just because they look like they can have a good time. So,
the Gorons get down. I don't think there's any question they know how to throw down. I think,
and they're all about 700 pounds minimum, so they can throw down all night.
They don't stop. That's very funny. Although thinking of that kind of range, they have some sort of weird Romulan ale type beverage that if you drank as a human, you would just be obliterated in 3 sips. So you gotta be careful. Don't
that's when you're at the point when you break out the Klingon worm soup that they have as a snack. Their version of peanuts, basically. You're like, I'll try it, and then you regret everything the next day.
Everything all at once.
All right, well, there's a lot of interesting characters in the Zelda franchise. You know what? I'd like to hang out with Beetle.
Beetle?
The shop owner.
I love it. Why Beetle?
He's just such a unique character, and I think he'd be a cool guy to just hang around the house. Maybe swap some stories. Some of the interesting people he's probably met, especially if he's the boat beetle, going around the sea, seeing the different people.
This is true. He's well traveled. Anytime I've seen Beetle, he's well traveled. So he's got some stories. And you just hang out at the house, like you would just have him over.
Just have him over, maybe watch a movie or chat.
Right on.
Yep.
What movie does one watch with Beetle?
With Beetle? Oh, we gotta get maybe Lord of the Rings. He might like that. Be similar to Link. Remind him of home.
Oh, that's good. All right, excellent. So you and Beetle watch Lord of the Rings, hang out and swap stories about his adventures. sailing around, or traveling. If you're
traveling anyway, yes. Depends on the game.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Beetle, that's a good one.
I personally like the Gorons. I think like one of my favorite characters is it's from Ocarina of Time, but it's the big Goron. The big gigantic Goron when you're like an adult and you gotta help. He has the eye drops. You gotta put the eye drops and all that stuff against the sword. He's just always cool. He's always rad. Maybe a second one, if I could choose Majora's Mask related, I'd at least hang out for like a night with the goofy hand in the toilet. Just give him some paper.
Yay! So this requires some explanation now. So why the hand in the toilet? Which was, by the way, my moment in Majora where I said, "What am I playing? What is happening in this game? What's happening?"
Oh,
yeah.
I know that it is the most. Majora's Mask is a weird game, but like that is one of the strangest moments ever. Like, it's just his obsession with paper. Like, give me paper.
You had to get a deed from a Deku thing, and man,
I don't know. That heart piece, cool. I'm a little. I don't know. You got to sanitize that heart piece before you grab it.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to go with a character from my favorite of all of the Zelda franchise, the Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
And I would probably have to pick. I guess if I'm answering it as myself as a kid when I first originally played The Legend of Zelda, I'd be like, I'd go hang out with Link. We'd go on all kinds of cool adventures. But now as an adult, I'd definitely just go pick to hang out on Lon Lon Ranch. And just relax.
Nice. Is that because life is so busy right now? You just want peace,
for sure.
And quiet.
Yes, a little peace, a little quiet, and just hang out with some chickens, for sure.
Love that. Yeah, you know what? I kind of get that, right? I don't know if you have kids, but I have kids. Yep. And silence is a rare commodity.
Oh, it's a
rare.
virtue.
Oh, you kidding me? I like that. Calm, relaxed, quiet. Only the soft clucking of chickens.
Yep.
Wafting through the air. Yeah. I love that answer. That's fantastic.
So I would go with, man, I'm going to blow it. I'm pretty sure it ends up being Zelda, but the pirate in Wind Waker. Because I have a history with Wind Waker where it's a game that I forever lust after, that I want to play it. I've just never successfully nailed down a GameCube. So as best I understand, like the pirate in that game, spoiler alert, turns out to be Zelda. But it's super spunky, it's like funny, and she has a ship, so it's like, all right, we can sail around the sea. I think that'd be my answer.
Okay. Just so you know, I am playing Wind Waker right now for this very podcast. And I actually didn't know that, so now
Get
I do.
out. Did I ruin it? Yes.
Wow. You certainly did.
Wow. That's what you get for these questions.
Kind of did.
God damn, are you serious? You didn't know that?
I've never played Wind Waker. I'm playing it right now for the show, and maybe a quarter through. I haven't seen the pirate ship again. I was wondering where they end up.
God, that's
I haven't
so
seen them
cold.
again.
I feel awful now.
I just well, you know,
that's it.
I'm not saying you should, but you know. It's okay. We're talking about a video game. We're talking about a Zelda 3 questions for a Zelda series. It's fine. Honestly, that's fine. It won't ruin anything for me, although that would have been a very pleasant surprise. I'm not going to lie.
Sorry about
it. Hey, Jeff, would you like to ruin anything from Wind Waker?
What is he playing? What else are you playing right now? Let Jeff ruin something.
No, I'm not going to ruin Wind Waker. I mean, I haven't played it either, so like he just ruined it for me too. So I'm there with you. It's okay.
Hold on. No, there's no way.
Great.
There's no way, Jeff. That's a lie. There's no way you don't know that.
Oh, I've probably seen it a bunch of times, but my memory's short. So you just ruin it each time when I remember.
You people.
Oh, man. Well, there you go.
Yeah, for me, I'm not going to ruin anything unless you haven't played Link's Awakening. So let me know now.
I have played Link's Awakening to completion, so feel free to spoil away.
Okay. I think I'd hang out with the Marin. So you wake up on the beach. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to help you out." And like, you don't really spend time with her at all. You just kind of like go about your quest and try to find your memory and get back home. But I think if you spend some time with her and be like, "Hey, you know, thank her for, rescuing you off the shipwreck that you were on and kind of get to know her. I think that would be cool. I think my second choice, though, would be just like one of the chickens. Just to like...
to get killed?
Just like, again, just, hang out with them for a day. Not cause any harm, because I think we've all maybe have caused harm to a chicken or two in our Zelda playthroughs. At least I have. I don't know about you two, but just to kind of like smooth things over, just hang out with them and maybe make friends.
So that serve as an ambassador.
That's right.
Peacekeeper to the chickens we've tortured and bothered all for the last 30 years of Zelda games.
Yeah.
That's cool. And Marin's a good choice too. I like, because she lives in a cool area, right? You got beach, you have everything you need, like right there. You can hang out in Animal Town for a bit, I think it'd be cool. Yeah. Maybe she's playing a gig that night, so kind of head over to whatever concert hall or whatever club she's playing at or singing at. That'd be good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I think that if you could, two characters come to mind for me immediately. If you could get either the Happy Mask salesman from Majora's Mask to like sit down and like calm down with like a cup of tea or something. Nice. I feel like I feel like the Happy Mask salesman would have some great stories and be a really good conversationalist, and obviously is one of those, the Happy Mask salesman, one of those people that just like, you ever talk to people who they just give out pearls, just like pearls of wisdom, just yes, bars, just really good lines and stuff. Yep. I feel like the Happy Mask salesman would be one of those people. And I just like talking to people like that. And another character that came to mind was Beetle. Particularly from like Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, because Beetle is so well traveled. I feel like Beetle, I guess I'm thinking of these people as in terms of conversation. I think they would make for very good conversation, very good stories.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I'm playing, as of this recording, I'm playing through Wind Waker for the first time. So
yes,
since there's so much flavor and so much joy in that game, all I want to do is hang out in that world. So now my answers to that, I was so happy when I saw Beetle. I was like, Beetle! It was like a buddy from Breath of the Wild. I didn't know you were here. Hey, Beetle, what are you doing here in your boat? So I was very happy to see Beetle. And then I think for me, it would either call me crazy, because I know this character gets a lot of hatred and a lot of, I don't know, people never really liked this character. Tingle. I'm a Tingle fan.
Me too.
We would get into so many hijinks and just, it'd be fun. Like a magic green dude who cares little about where he's at or what he does. He's just like, just out there.
He's misunderstood. Tingle's a misunderstood character for sure. I mean, he's kind of weird because like he's like a 40-plus-year-old dude who is still trying to dress up like these, Kokiri kids and things like that. So I get it. But at the same time, I don't know. I find him fascinating, and I've always liked him and his vibe and his little magic words. Don't steal them.
Yes, it's so fun. He's just such a, I don't know. He's just kind of living his best life, and I respect that immensely. And again, I haven't met a quarter of the characters probably in this game, but whoever is the dancing dude by the tomb in the first stage, by the grave. That utterly fabulous human being who just wants you to dance with him. I don't know. Another person just living his best life, grooving by a grave for some weird reason. I hope his story doesn't end up tragic and weird. I hope I don't regret that once I get to the end of this game, because I'm just into like the second or third area. But boy, oh boy, that guy's pretty rad.
I think a really good place to hang out would be Kakariko Village, just because there's a lot of different things to do there. There's a little shopping center downtown. I don't want to say you go visit the jail, but there's different little things around there. People sprinting around, racing each other. But who I would want to hang out with that's really good. It would either have to be Agatha, because even though she's a big bug person, I really like her fashion attire, and I would want to learn more about fashion from her.
Sure.
Or there's a witch that's in one of the Oracle games. I think she appears in other games. I want to say her name's Maple.
Okay.
And she's very... she's a kind of like rivalry character. She sometimes knocks into you and you lose some of your items, but I think if you were to befriend her, it'd be more of a mutual hanging out, split the bill type of thing.
Sure, and you can get into some trouble. Yeah, and sometimes that's kind of fun, you know.
Yeah.
A little rowdier get together. I like
a little
that.
bit of a more wild card thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. Keep things interesting. Totally.
This is a very good question. And
Thank you.
As you were saying it, the only person that I would really truly want to hang out with, first person that comes to mind, is Prince Sidon from Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, Prince Sidon. Okay, why?
And the reason why is because he just generates so much positivity. You just can't help but feel like a better person when you're around him.
That's fair. That's fair. What would you guys do?
I don't know. We'd hang out, maybe fish. He would give me some encouraging words to be strong and do your best, and we're all very proud of you. And I just feel like it would be a great big cheer up, you know?
He would be, I think, a really good hiking partner, maybe.
Yes,
like a long walk or a hike where you can just converse. There's not much to do but trees and ground.
And the occasional waterfall.
And the occasional waterfall, right? Which, swim up it. Why not? Do what you got to do. But yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I like that. Yeah, just go on a hike with the prince there and feel encouraged and feel supported. Yeah. I think that's a great thing. Question number 2. You have the ability to remaster or remake one game from the Legend of Zelda series. Kind of give it the Link's Awakening treatment in some way, shape, or form. Which game do you remake / remaster and why?
I guess the Oracle games definitely could. I feel like that'd be a fun look. I'm not going to say Zelda's Adventure because I get that request every day of my life.
I'm sure you do.
By the way.
Okay, all right. Ever. I'm gonna ask you again because it's on my list, but that's fine. Okay, so the Zelda Adventure is not gonna happen, but you think Oracle? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, those games are brilliant. Or Minish Cap, any of the Capcom ones could. I would love to see those come back.
Cool. And you figure a fresh coat of paint. Would there be any mechanic changes? What are you kind of envisioning 2 seconds after thinking about it?
Well, as somebody who made a 2-parter Zelda, I figure it might be imperative to do the Oracle games first and maybe just sort of integrate all the things that are different about them more closely together. You could even maybe put it in the Link's Awakening remake engine. That'd be fun.
Oh, there you go.
Not to be pixelized, but
yeah.
I feel pretty strongly about this. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link.
Ah, interesting.
I've heard your episode on the subject. I am one of these grumpy folks who believes it to be maybe the worst game in the franchise. It's in, and certainly leaving aside the spin-offs, the CDI games and so forth.
Sure.
But in kind of the core franchise, I think it's only rivaled by Spirit Tracks as a game that doesn't really work for me. And sure. I think there's the core of a good game in The Adventure of Link. And I like that they went out on a limb with some experimental concepts for it. I mean, it's the first Legend of Zelda that really plays around seriously with swordplay, which you'd see evolving into the 3D games. And there even was a prototype of an Adventure of Link remake being made in the mid-1990s in 3D.
Wow.
Yeah, it had Yoshiaki Koizumi on the staff, the guy who's kind of the face of the Nintendo Switch in the promos, who did a lot of the Legend of Zelda story stuff over the years. But the point is that I think you could craft a really, really cool 3D remake out of The Adventure of Link. And I mean top to bottom, not just kind of replicating how it plays in the original, but take the world of The Adventure of Link and reimagine it as a really kind of technical swordplay driven game in 3D.
because it's interesting, and that's actually a really good pick because Skyward Sword was, I think, maybe the closest we got to the, I would say, almost a verticality.
Exactly. You're right.
Of going high, low, having to actually pick where you strike as opposed to the techniques. Again, Wind Waker, you can dash forward and strike or overhead, depending on how you're holding the stick.
Right.
But what struck me about and this came up in that episode, what struck me about the Adventure of Link was I really felt like I was jousting and battling somebody. And an everyday regular enemy, I had to really put some thought into how I was timing things, jumping in, like jump-ins, like I'm playing a fighting game. Like it was really very eye-opening, and it was extremely interesting to see what they were doing, and to have that translated to a modern sensibility, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and if memory serves, it's the director of either Inti Creates or Way Forward. I'm pretty sure it's Inti Creates, which does a lot of really good retro sprite-based games. So maybe you could do this in 2D. They made a pitch to basically be given the opportunity to remake Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. And I think it's still kind of floating out there as an unreturned pitch, but if anybody could do justice to the really interesting core concepts of that game, I think it would be Inti Creates. I'd really love to see that.
It seems like, for the most part, every Zelda game has been re-released or remastered. At least like in the main line, we got Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time HD on the 3DS, which, hopefully that kind of remaster happens. Or at least ported. Do something with those. Geez, they're gorgeous.
I mean, really.
So, you know what? We need like a Zelda portable collection. Now, if I were to answer your question faithfully, I would say, man, let's get the Link's Awakening treatment on the Switch remake, which I loved that. Let's do that with Minish Cap. Let's do that with Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Let's do it,
I think that's good.
That's my pick.
Yeah, Minish Cap's the one I always go to, and I've never played it. I know it by reputation. I think people who like Minish Cap love it. It's a weird thing. Like there's no like middle ground. Yeah, it was all right.
I don't know, man. It's like,
seem to love it.
If you like 2D Zelda, there's literally nothing wrong with Minish Cap. It's a great 2D Zelda game. That's what I want to give it a go. That's my pitch. If you like 2D Zelda, give it a play.
Give it a go.
Probably the one I've never played, Link to the Past.
Interesting. So you've never played Link to the Past?
I know this is terrible for a Zelda fan, but the furthest back I've gone playing is Nintendo 64, because anything before that, I just couldn't get into the story. And I don't know if that's just because, of when I grew up with Zelda and like what was available to me, because that was our first console, was on 64. So now when I look at those older games, I'm like, I just can't get into it.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because, as you know, everybody, Link to the Past is in most people's kind of top 3. But I really find that interesting. I'd love to actually see you or hear you play it for the first time as an adult without the nostalgia glasses. And it sounds like you've dabbled in it and just kind of bounced off for story reasons. That's very interesting. That's cool. So you think Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past might do with that kind of a little bit of a refurbish, a sprucing up? Maybe make it a little friendlier, perhaps, or
if they modernized it, I would be so into it. Because I know so many people love that game, and I feel like such a fake fan to be like, but I just can't get into it.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with being an honest fan. It's honesty. I appreciate that. No,
Thank
absolutely. You don't have to like what everyone likes, because what fun would that be?
I completely agree. Yeah.
Would you hate me forever if I said the CDI games?
I would not hate you forever.
I think the well-read mage might.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. Has he ever? I don't even know if he's taught. Oh, he might. That's right. He has an episode. God,
yeah, I was on it.
An episode. Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
The CDI Zeldas could do with a little bit of a lick of paint. They could do with The clues being a little less obscure, and I don't want to say leveling up, but collecting of snowballs and fireballs in order to progress. Things like that. It just needs a little streamlining, putting together on one Switch cartridge, and just letting loose into the world, and then saying, there you go, try this, and then Nintendo can just run away and hide.
Just disappear into the ether.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
That's a terrible answer, but I'm sticking with it.
It's fine. It's fine. It's your answer. And now it's attached to you forever. That's how this works.
I'm forever going to be known as the CDI Zelda guy, and I love that.
You know what? This almost might be a cop-out, but I'm going to go with Majora's Mask.
Okay.
I think updated visuals. I mean, like, Gareint got a pretty good one, a nice little revamp for the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
But I think didn't Majora also get one on there?
Yep.
Yeah, but I think a full redo, just like some quality of life improvements, maybe expand the world a little bit and stuff like that. Because you know, even if you pretty up an N64 game, it still plays like an N64 game. So I think even just like a better camera and all, you could do stuff to make it a more pleasant experience.
I agree with that. I think Control, would be a huge, huge help, because I'm playing Majora right now, for this series, and Control is the biggest barrier because it's an N64 game. a lot of the stuff we had not kind of figured out yet, and some of that Control stuff's rough. So I could totally see that. I also like the idea of maybe expanding it a bit with maybe different masks, maybe different dungeons that get you different masks, which gives you different abilities. More cool side stories. I can see that, man. I think that makes
maybe
a lot of
be
sense.
One of the few games that like actually uses like the gyroscope inside of the Switch, but try to make it as least clunky as possible. There's just things you can do there.
That would be challenging. I still have nightmares of Breath of the Wild trying to get that dumb ball through a maze with the gyroscope. Oof, no thank you.
Oh God, you're right. I take it back. I don't want to do that.
He takes it all back. That's it. It's funny.
I would actually say the original. I've never managed to beat the original because of the map and how it all is, and I've never wanted to go in with maps, and so like to get it just updated to more like even just have an in-game map or something in it, one like that.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I think the first one would be a good choice because it is one of the least accessible. It's not its fault, right? I mean, it
was an excellent game for its time, but it's just
sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So the first one, I totally dig that. I would like to see that bundled with like this, with the Adventure of Link. Like Zelda 1, Zelda 2 in a bundle, fresh coat of paint, a la Super Mario All-Stars way back in the day. I think that would be pretty cool.
I'd have a hard time with the second one because it was where I started, so it's second nature to me.
Oh, see, I love the fact that people love the second one. I'm glad that is like a game that's really has a new life, right? Like especially in modern times. And you said you grew up with it, so for you,
yeah, I played it a lot. I'll tell you, it's sort of funny. I ended up playing the second one a lot because my brother told me the first one was too hard.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
I think coming back to it, it's because he borrowed it from his friend and he didn't want me to use one of the save slots, so that was his excuse.
Sneaky.
So I grew up, even though it was hard, like the second one, I can still go. I've never beat the very last boss, the Shadow Link, except using the little cheat where you can sit in the corner.
Sit in the corner, just stab away.
But the rest of the game, like I can still play that one. That's actually one of the few I still have.
Probably the Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, like the Game Boy ones. I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for me. I'm not really too crazy on the remaking stuff because, like, I think the fun is exploring. It's kind of like a time capsule, like it's exploring the game as it is, and even though it's got its faults, and even though it's like old, it still kind of has a charm to it. But Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, that just needs to be on the Switch at least, like their virtual console or whatever, it's the Switch Online or whatever it's called.
Well, you know how Nintendo will do. They'll package them both together and they'll charge us $55 for it. And we will all buy it because we're crazy.
That's just what we will do. It's just what we'll do. Were those the Capcom part of the Capcom?
Yeah, those are the Capcom ones. Like the well, that threw me off when I first was a kid. Seeing, I was like, Capcom, what, making a Nintendo game? What?
Now, if they combined all the Capcom Zelda games, I'd be into that, because that would get you, and I just looked it up, so this is not me being a genius. That's Minish Cap, Four Swords, and then the 2 Oracles. If you put that into a package and sold it on the Switch for $60, that I buy. I'm there. And don't even remaster them. Just smash them on there. Maybe some quality of life stuff, maybe some rewind or save states, whatever. But
I'd be up for that too. I actually didn't know that they did Minish Cap as well. So that's actually kind of cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah. That's another one I need to kind of get my hands into. I've never played it. So I feel like I'm missing out, according to people.
Oh yeah. It's actually, they're pretty fun. Like actually, or hold on. Actually, let me change my answer. If they can just re-release the Four Swords GameCube game, I'd be happy. Because that one is fun. That one is cool when you have like a full set of people.
Nice. Yeah, I can see how that would be fun. And especially you could do it online, maybe some of that functionality.
Yeah, and like, oh gosh, I just try to think of how expensive it is with the GameCube. Like, you got to buy a GameCube, you got to buy 4 Game Boy Advances, you got to buy the cables.
Oh no, we can't get into that. Can't get into that.
If they could just do it like 4 Switches, like local together, that would be really cool.
I never want to say a game that's too new. Honestly, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of brand new Zelda games, Breath of the Wild being the newest, or I guess one of the remakes is being the newest. I would probably say I would really like to see kind of what they did with Link's Awakening, but for either Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, just because they were on the DS, the graphics weren't exactly the prettiest, and they were both just really fun games though. So it'd be really nice to play that through again with like revitalized graphics. I think that would be really cool to see either one of those two.
And I think I think what would be even better would be not having to deal with the stylus controls.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
That would be
having
nice.
Just, regular controls.
Yes. Give me a control pad, please. And not have to deal with tapping and circling. I played Phantom Hourglass. And I didn't finish it. I never played Spirit Tracks. So they're 2 games I have very little experience with. But I do remember with Phantom, I got used to slashing and tapping and circling, but boy, oh boy. No, I think just playing that as a traditional Zelda game would be nice.
Yes, very much.
Very cool. Like that pick. Excellent. And you could like put them as a 2-pack.
Yeah.
Bundle them together. Nintendo will charge us $50, but we'll all pay it. We'll pay the ransom.
$50 for 2 games? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I there's no question they would. I think I did this once and I mentioned, maybe put it together for like a $20 bundle. And the other person's like, no, 20 Nintendo? No, it'll be $50, 55, $60.
Sure.
Yeah. They don't do that.
I think we've talked about this in the show, and it's the same answer. I think it's still Wind Waker, because I do not think Wind Waker's on the Switch yet.
It is not.
Yeah. Yeah, so like an actual, because if I understood it right, there was a re-release of it, Wind Waker, at some point. I don't know if it's like for the 3DS or maybe the Wii U even. Yeah. And they had this massive upgrade to the system for the boat, where as opposed to having to actually sail it, you could draw your path and then just kind of look around, shoot your cannons, and like enjoy yourself from it. I understood that to be a fantastic update. So this would be the long-awaited way for me to finally play Wind Waker. So ideally, it comes out on the Switch.
I really love that answer because, as I just mentioned, I am playing Wind Waker, and I'm playing the GameCube edition, the GameCube version, on an emulator, of course, because finding that game is at a reasonable price is next to impossible. So I can definitely see where that would be so nice. Just plot a course and let the game handle not the friction, but just kind of the tedium to a certain extent of just sailing along. But Haven't played it long enough to really get a feel for that yet. So
apparently, yeah,
clearly. Jeff, what about you, man?
I think what happens if we did like the original Zeldas, like 1 and 2? I don't just like a remaster.
Yeah.
So and maybe like a redo. I guess is it remaster or
Well, a remaster would be a just kind of fresh coat of paint, same mechanics. You know? Whereas a like remix or whatever you call
remake,
it, like remake. That's what I'm looking for. A remake would be, hey, we're gonna actually dink around with some of these mechanics to make it better, more modern, etc.
Yeah, like if it was a remake, I think those original ones, just because I have never played them, or I might have played a little bit of the first one, but then I'm old now, so I've totally forgotten it, and don't want to go back to those kind of clunky mechanics. So if it could be cleaned up and just kind of reimagined, that would be kind of neat just to experience.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
yeah,
just something again that's new, a little bit fresh, and they could do kind of whatever they wanted with it.
Yeah, and I also like that because you could also like bundle them. I think that'd be a great bundle, right? Like a 2-pack type of game, $40, remastered, Legend of Zelda 1, Zelda 2, boom, on the Switch. I'm buying that instantaneously. And I've played one 1,000 times.
That's Nintendo though. You said $40? Like
sorry.
Higher.
Sorry. Oops. Edition is not my strong suit. Try more like, again, your standard 60.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see it too if it was the full over dramatic, full cinematic, like Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh yeah.
But except it's Zelda 1 because there's no real story. Zelda, the world is falling apart. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Oh, old man, son. No more. Like they just have to stuff so much story.
Yeah.
The blocks of the world will come together in squares. No.
The obvious, I think, sort of next step after the Link's Awakening remake or remaster or whatever would be the Oracle games, which I think would be great. I love those games, and it'd be super cool if they could find a way to, even if it's literally in the same style as Link's Awakening, because I love what they did visually with that game. I love that kind of weird toy diorama. It almost looks like those Rankin Bass like Christmas movies a little bit. Like it kind of has that vibe, and I love the way that looks. And it would be a shame to only use that for one game and then move on. I think it'd be super cool to do the Oracle games that way and make them kind of one package.
Right.
And not make us buy 2 copies, just put it all in one thing, and all the linked game bosses and dungeons and things, just put them all together in one package. That'd be amazing. But honestly, I really think that Zelda 2 could use a great, remaster, fresh coat of paint. I really do think that game is good and underrated. And I think that if people just had the sort of way to view that through a modern lens, a way to make some of those kind of more obtuse things about Zelda 2 a little bit more palatable. I could imagine taking like a sort of hand-drawn visual approach to it, like a way forward, or like they did with the Wonder Boy and Monster Boy, games and stuff. Like if you were to take that kind of visual style and apply it to Zelda 2, I think that could really be something special. And I think it would kind of allow people to look at that game the way it deserves to be looked at.
It'd be really nice to see Link Between Worlds no longer stuck on the 3DS at this point.
Interesting. Sure. Right? I could totally see that 3DS isn't really on Switch Online yet, but I could totally see a re-release. It may not need the coat of paint, but just to put it on a more accessible thing. We'll talk about a Link Between Worlds if we get the time, but...
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that. I'd love to see that just readily available. Again, like you said, unlike being just stuck on the 3DS. Yeah. Which is where I of course played it, and I love that game. So
that game is so good.
It's ridiculously good. We'll talk about it. We'll make a point to talk about it.
Oh man, if anyone knows me very well, they know that my favorite game of all time is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. And so my obvious answer would be a remake of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link.
Now, if you were to remake that game, how would you just give it the fresh coat of paint? Would you update any mechanics? Because, obviously a lot of people dislike that game because of that mechanics of how different it is. What would you do? What would you change on it?
That's a good question. I would probably see this more as a complete overhaul of the system. So instead of just having, instead of just doing a one-to-one remake, a one-to-one remaster, of the game, I'd probably remake it more, 3D graphics, updated swordplay, retain the same enemies, but change their behaviors to make them a little bit more modernized, so to speak. Definitely a better translation for the townspeople, so you can actually understand what they're talking about.
Yep.
instead of those cryptic hints. And other than that, I don't really see anything else to change on that. Maybe include more puzzles and stuff like that, and make it a little bit more traditional. Sure. But I would love to just see a remake where they maintain the same mechanics, but just overhaul it, either make it like full 3D or just tighten it up. Give it like you said, give it a good fresh coat of paint. But Zelda 2 is just something that needs to be remade.
And I think if we live in a world where Shovel Knight can be like a beloved game, I think if Zelda 2 really leaned into the downstrike, and not saying you'd have to change the game drastically to account for that, but we now live in a world where Shovel Knight's a thing, which that's a big part of that game. And there is really a lot of fun to be had of just bouncing on things with a downward strike. Like Hollow Knight, you can do that a lot. It's super fun. So
yes,
if a remake could lean into that a little more with some of the puzzle designs and dungeon designs, I think you'd really have something that people would enjoy, with a more modern flair. And I always think, too, when it comes to remakes, give people the original if you can. Give people the option to just play hard as nails Zelda 2, get good, and also provide maybe a looser option for those who just want to experience the flavor of it without all the friction, if that makes sense.
And something, just before we go on to the next question, there is a really good ROM hack of an updated version of Zelda 2. I played that a long, long time ago on stream. But this ROM hack actually updates a lot of what was wrong with Zelda 2.
Right.
And it makes it a much more accessible version to play. Not only does it clean up some of the graphics, sharpens them up a little bit, gives them some more color, some more flavor. Spells are a lot more cheaper. The life bar is replaced with traditional hearts. So
neat. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just little graphical touches and little mechanical touches, but it makes it a much more accessible game to play. Oh yes, and they've also they also retranslated the entire script. So now
that's
nice. And they even modified the character limits on the sprites as well too. So now you can actually read full lines as opposed to saying, "Sorry, I can't help you." They'll actually have like a small little conversation or something like that. So that's neat.
I love that. I love when people just round off the edges. Earlier in this series, I chatted with the guy who fixed the CDI games, and I think that's so interesting when you take something that's not beloved, and which of course Zelda 2 is now gaining its fans, retroactively. It's really cool when people deservedly so. It's a cool game. I wish I had the time to really dig into it and get good at it, but I can see why people love it. It's a very cool concept, and I can see that being one of those games. Once you get a feel for it, it's really fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what's better than foisting 3 ridiculous questions on your guests who just want to sit there and talk about Zelda and they're not looking to do this? Better than that, my wonderful patrons, starting with our latest patron, the one and only Greg Seward of the Player One podcast and Generation 16 series of videos. Greg has been a huge supporter of the show from close to the beginning, and I am very grateful he's decided to support the show financially on the $5 friend tier. Please enjoy the extra content episodes and all of the sort of fun stuff I have planned for that tier. Greg, welcome to the fam. You're a part of the fam. You've been on the show a bunch. You know the drill. Also, thank you to Theodore LaBarbera, Games with Coffee, Patrice Millette, The Let's Play Princess, BT Goebbels, Tim Knowles of The Elitist, Nerds Without Pants' very own Julian, Seth Sergil, Dan of Retro Logic, Ryan Payne, and Pete Harney. If you would like to join these wonderful human beings, please go to patreon.com/A Gamer Looks at 4040. Check out the tiers, and if one of them strikes your fancy, sign up today. Question number 3. You have the ability to expertly, and I want to emphasize expertly, wield one weapon or item from the Legend of Zelda series in your everyday life. What weapon or item do you pick, and what do you do with it?
It's the Ocarina of Time. I mean, you just play. I mean, go back in time, slow it down. I mean, come on.
That's fair. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Slowing it down would be actually pretty good because there is a lot of utility to that. Huh, okay. When I framed that question, I forgot that was a thing, and that's probably the best answer.
I mean, second runner-up's the hookshot, right? Everybody wants
Hookshot's
hookshot.
Cool. Oh, hookshot's amazing. I love the hookshot. I would just do that in the backyard, just hookshot from thing to thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I need my keys, I'd be like, hookshot, rink, thank you. And away it goes.
Is Ocarina of Time a cheat? You know, I mean, if I could master that, I could, I could go back in time. I could go forward in time. California's got a drought. I can head out there and play the rain song.
Yep.
Everybody wins.
You can do a lot. It's not a cheat because I didn't label it as a cheat. However, if you had to pick a second,
more traditional tool,
a lot of people have stated Ocarina, and that's kind of the right answer.
Sure.
But a second, like a number 2, and the person doing this say, "Oh no, sorry, Charlie across the street, there I got the Ocarina."
Of course, yeah. There's only one Ocarina. I'm gonna go with the hookshot. Everybody loves a hookshot. It's fun.
Everyone loves everyone loves a good hookshot. What would you do with your hookshot?
Oh, I'd just go up to high places. The usual. I'd pull levers at a distance. I'd be slightly lazier than I am now.
All the levers you encounter in your everyday life, just pulling those. That's cool. I like the idea of using the hookshot to just climb a mountain.
Yeah.
Rick, ka-chunk, Rick. And just boom, next thing you know, you're on top of Everest. And
I'd break the records for every mountain on the planet. And
that's all you would do.
It would be an embarrassment in the process. Yes.
Right. That's all you gotta do is get good at adhering yourself to a thing and then doing that. That's funny.
I'd never fall down again. I'd keep it, attached to my belt anytime I started to fall. Whoop. Yep. Standing back up straight.
Good. The only thing you gotta be careful with if you're picking things up, you don't shatter them, because the thing is it's got a bit of a hook on it, so you want to make sure that you're not trying to pull dishes from the cupboard or something with
exactly.
it. That's probably not going to work too great, but
yeah, at least once a day you would do that, I think, is the problem.
Yes, you're right. Well, remember though, I said expertly, right?
You're right. You're right. You did say expertly. Yes, yeah. So bearing that in mind,
no learning curve here. You just know it. It's Matrix program. Awesome.
If I say the ocarina, right? That gives me the power to slow down time, reverse time, go back in time, transport myself. That's the ultimate God mode through life item.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that would be my canned answer. Let's get the ocarina and now I can do whatever. I'm a superhero now. I can do whatever I want. As long as I have breath in my lungs, I can control time.
Right.
But what would be really cool is a freaking hookshot.
Hookshot's so cool.
I mean, dual hookshot in your Spider-Man. Come on.
And I didn't say how many you can wield. So
dual hookshot is in Twilight Princess. So that's
right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, that's right. It is in Twilight Princess.
So
that's legit.
That's my if you're that's my fun answer is dual
I like
hookshot.
That. Yeah. We'll do a hookshot. That's. I have a funny feeling everyone's gonna select the ocarina because you're right. It is a
it's God mode
thing.
Yeah, it's it does everything. Whatever.
Dual hookshot is that's pretty good.
Or maybe Zora Mask.
Zora Mask,
transform and swim underwater unlimitedly would be pretty neat. I don't know, dude. This is a hard question.
I try to make these challenging, but also silly enough where really there is no right or wrong.
Final answer. Dual hook shot. If I have a gun to my head,
I think that's
because I think the ocarina is too much power. I feel like I would go to some bad places if I had it. So
a Sheikah tablet.
Wow, that was super fast. I love it.
Yeah. You can do so much with the Sheikah tablet. I mean, my first thought was Hookshot, of course, because like, why not climb everything and really cause chaos? But with the Sheikah tablet, you have so many options, and also Pyrrha's always making downloadables for it. So what we know right now of its capabilities, we can't even imagine what she's going to develop next, right?
Yep. Yeah, Sheikah tablet's such a good answer. Oh, I really like that one.
Thank you.
That's a really funny. Yeah, you know what? It's a really good Swiss Army knife, right? It kind of
really
just does everything, and it's constantly being updated. That's really, really good. You can't update an ocarina. Let's be honest.
You can't.
It does what it does, but who knows?
However, you can learn new songs.
This is true. Now, the question is, if you could write new songs for the ocarina, would that be on par with the tablet?
Oh, I think it might be better than the tablet, to be honest.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think if I could compose new music for the ocarina, I would have picked that.
Yeah, I think that's that. So that actually adds a wrinkle to it, because then you could make your own songs that would do your own things, unless, of course, the tablet's open source.
I was just about to say, do we have the ability to learn how to app write for the tablet?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I'm just gonna open it up to complete anarchy, and say it's an open source tablet, and you
make
can
an ocarina
certainly
app then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right. you know, like for the iPhone, they have GarageBand. I'm gonna make that, but for the Sheikah tablet.
I really like that. That's really good. Right. And we could just keep going down this rabbit hole.
We really could.
Really could. The ocarina never runs out of battery, but who says the Sheikah tablet ever does? That's never really in the text or the lore. On and on we go, but I love that answer. That's one of my favorites so far for that question.
There's an obvious one that I'm trying not to say.
I know. Everyone says this is the obvious one, but go a little left of. Go ahead a little left of. I'm assuming you mean the ocarina.
No, I was going to say the boomerang.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, most people say ocarina.
Really, I thought the boomerang was the obvious answer there. I just want to go around boomeranging things.
Well, you can stun anybody you like, so
For
technically, for a few seconds. That's good if like you're in traffic or I don't know. There's uses for that.
Oh.
You could pick up things from far away and have it be retrieved.
That would be so useful in my classroom.
Yes, there you go. Unruly kid, just boom.
Disclaimer: I do not advocate violence in the classroom.
You were not saying. That's really funny. Okay, boomerang. That's cool.
Yeah.
No one said boomerang yet.
Oh, great.
Most have said ocarina. So
I thought boomerang was the obvious answer there. I was trying to stay away from it, but no, I'm going to go with boomerang.
Cool. It's all you were the only boomerang so far. It's all been ocarina or hookshot.
Oh, I forgot about the hookshot. I love that thing.
Of course, who doesn't? How could you not love that thing? It'll transport you across chasms and do most of the things that a boomerang does.
Oh,
but you can't throw it at an angle.
I could have gone with, yeah.
That's it. You're stuck. You're stuck with the boomerang. Nope.
I love that.
No, you're stuck with the boomerang.
Yeah.
That's it. At least you could throw a boomerang at an angle. You can't do that with the hookshot.
That's true.
Unless you're in Ocarina of Time.
You got
aim
360 degree aiming with that thing, but
forget it then. Forget it.
Go with the standard.
Choice.
Yeah.
Go with the original. I love it.
Hookshot. Hookshot.
All day, right?
I'm lazy. I'm a lazy man. I can bring stuff to me. I can get myself anywhere I want. If I have a house, if I have to do a repair, just go up on the roof. Boom. I'm right there.
Oh, man.
Even if I'm stuck in a line somewhere or to get upstairs, boom, I'm going in through the window. There's so many uses you can have with it.
I love that. I think it's funny. Hookshot is predominantly
has been the answer to this question. And I now realize that it is the right answer. Like that, it's basically the right, because it's such a wonderful tool. Some have said the Ocarina in Ocarina of Time, because you can kind of do anything with it, but it's almost cheating. I think Hookshot is so many utilities for it, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, Bill, let me ask you a quick question. Speaking of
man.
ocarinas. Now, I know a lot of us Zelda fans, like, as all the gamer gear and stuff like that started to come out, and even stuff on Wish, did you ever buy one of those replica ocarinas and see, like, no. I'm going to sit down and try and learn this thing?
No, because I know how I was at the recorder when I was in 4th grade, and it was terrible. So no, I no wind instruments at all for me. I never gave it a shot.
Yeah, I have one of the fake ones, and then I saw like the notes for like how to just even do like an A and like how to contort my fingers, and I just went nope, and I just put it right back on the shelf.
It's kind of like, at some point someone gets you a harmonica when you're a kid. At least in my world, I have like 3. For some reason, a grandparent gets me a harmonica, and you think you can play a harmonica until you try to play the harmonica, and then it's very clear you cannot play a harmonica. So I could see the ocarina being a pretty similar experience.
Yeah, that was biting off way more than I could chew. So it's a nice decoration.
Sure, it's a nice little keepsake. Nothing else.
It's probably a little cliche, but the hook shot.
Yeah.
Just to fly around. Like, honestly, to move around, especially go through the woods. I would love to be, like, hunting with the hook shot.
Hunting with the book shot?
Yeah,
okay.
Like, just so you could travel through the woods so quickly. It'd be
sure.
awesome.
I mean, there's lots of trees that you can kind of slide through and dash around. That's interesting. I haven't heard... Hookshot's a popular one, I'll be honest. However, I have not heard it much for woodland traversal. I haven't heard that bit yet.
I would think that, because the other one would be bow and arrow, would be the closest to it. Because but you know what? The hookshot just be so unique.
Hookshot's super cool. And a bow and arrow is actually not a bad number too, because you can pick up a bow and arrow now.
Yeah.
It takes you forever to learn it. Like, I'm saying you can expertly learn it.
Yeah, to expertly learn it, though, like the hookshot, especially to wield it like Link, that probably takes a special kind of person to learn that.
I think so, yeah. Again, you would be that special person.
Yep.
Just running around with the hookshot. Everyone's envious.
Usually the lens of truth, that'd be fun to see through walls and stuff.
Ooh, there you go. That's a great answer. I like that. The lens of truth. Yes, to see through walls and such. Not in a creepy way, of course, just for more of utility, and it's the lens of truth. Okay. I dig that.
That's always a good one.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Because it also, I'm not sure. I don't remember if the lens of truth actually will reveal truth for you, like the mask of truth in Majora.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely could see that. That'd be pretty neat.
That's a good one. And the first one that came to mind would be the hookshot. For sure. Just to be able to sit somewhere and be able to just get anything I want from like 15 feet away without having to move would be fantastic.
Right. That would be good. I like that. Got to be careful though, because you never know what that thing could smash.
Yeah, for sure. It does have that. I mean, depending on which version of the game you have, it does have kind of a pointy bit on the end. So you got to be careful. But that would be really helpful at work as well, having to reach way down this long counter that I have at work and just grab something from the other end and drag it back over.
And how much fun would it be, like at work, going through aisle to go to the break room, with your hook shot, just rink, rink, rink.
Absolutely. The double hook shot. Yeah. And you can just kind of gorilla swing your way there.
Exactly. Do a little bionic commando, down the aisle of cubicles.
Yeah.
Pretty fantastic. Yeah, hookshot's pretty good. And I was just thinking about it. If Link can Link hook onto pots with it, I don't think so, but it does bounce off. So it's got to be pretty porcelain safe, or dishwasher safe, I would think.
Yeah,
I don't
there
know.
you go.
I would think. Yeah. That's fine. Hookshot's a very popular answer because it's really, I think, the right answer.
I think it's just the most universally wanted tool for anybody that's ever played a Zelda game. They're like, I wish I had that.
I'm great with it. It's so good.
I think it'd have to be the kite. And I'm blanking on which one's for the Switch? The latest
Skyward? Oh no, Switch one.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah. So like that kite from Breath of the Wild, like being able to just like hop off your roof and go sailing some like 20 kilometers or miles, like in any particular direction. It's like, all right, I got to go to school. Just go flying off in some great direction. I think that'd be phenomenal for IRL.
Yeah, I would. That would be fun. I think I would do the hook shot. So, just you're walking around and you're like, no, I just want to go up to that floor of that building. Just hook shot right up there, or just like grab a drink from the sofa in the kitchen, or you just hook shot. It's done.
Now Hookshot's been a very popular selection in this. And the one thing I've mentioned to others is you gotta be careful because the Hookshot is extraordinarily good at breaking things as well.
Oh, that's true.
So you could be hookshotting around your house. Now, mind you, I did say expertly. So you have your aim is true.
Yes.
With your hookshot. So hookshot's a very popular one. I really like the idea. Now, if you had the power of in Breath of the Wild, there's one of the, I don't remember, not guardians, but masters, whatever power you gain to shoot up in the air like a bird, and then you can launch yourself, and then you can float. That's key, because if I have to climb up to like the 8th floor of a parking garage, like panting and waiting for my breath to catch, like, all right, and then plummet from it, I don't know. But if I can shoot up in the air and then float, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super into that. That'd be great.
That's a good question. Probably, I've always liked the hook shot. I've always liked like every time there's like some sort of hook shot or grapple or something like that, I've always enjoyed that in Zelda games. I think it might have debuted in A Link to the Past, actually, the hook shot.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And so anyway, I've always vibed with that. I've always liked it. And I could imagine the practical applications if you want to reach something without getting off the couch, hook shot it over to you or something like that.
Yep.
But I've also really liked, I've always liked the mobility of a hook shot, or like in Wind Waker, you have that sort of like rope thing that you can swing off of, ledges and things like that with. I've always been attracted to that. And I think that's probably my favorite, pound for pound, probably my favorite Zelda item, and the one that I think could have the most practical use case in the real world. Because otherwise, it's like, there are a million other Zelda items that I like. What's that top thing that you get in Twilight Princess? That like kind of spiky top thing that Link can ride around on?
Oh yeah.
Like, that thing's cool looking or whatever, but I don't know, and it'd be fun, but I don't know if it would have practical use cases. So
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
I think hookshot's a really good answer, and I think most people have said hookshot. Not to say your answer is. I just think I think everybody loves the hookshot. I think
awesome.
it's great. It's just great, right? Yeah. The only thing I'd be concerned about is if I were grabbing things in the house with the hookshot, is to shatter it. I just think it's constantly like breaking things. I don't know if you can break a pot in the world of Legend of Zelda with a hookshot. If not,
1,000%. Yeah.
Okay, then there's an issue there. Some have said the ocarina, which I think actually makes sense because you can do a lot with that, but it's almost like too overpowered for this conversation.
I think about, I don't really want to be able to control the flow of time. Like I've thought about that. I mean, I think everybody has sort of at some point or another wished they could, reverse time or slow time or whatever. But I don't know that, especially as I've gotten older, I'm sort of just like, you know what? I'm just going to take it as it comes. I don't want to alter a thing. I don't want to live with any regrets. I don't want to go back and repeat anything. Like I'm kind of just good. And
I agree with that, because people who want that, right? They say, "Oh, I would love to go back in time and do XYZ over again." But no one realizes that could be a monkey's paw situation,
right?
Where things end up worse. Like the thing you made a mistake on could be the thing that made you who you are. Like
exactly.
You learned from that experience, and all of a sudden things are way worse when you get back to the to present day. So, yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's cool.
The hook shot. I think the hook shot would be an easy answer, more than likely, just because if you're feeling lazy, it's a good way to grab things from far away, and it also is a way to get around.
Sure.
If you can't read something on a high shelf, just hookshot it.
Just make sure you don't break it.
Right?
The hookshot's pretty good at not breaking things, if I remember, in most Zelda games. Like, imagine the traversal you could do, though, right? Like, climbing a mountain. No problem. Rink, rink, rink. Right up to the top of Everest with no issue whatsoever.
Oh, the elevator's out, but there's a balcony on the 6th floor.
That's true. I like that. And again, remember, expertly. So you are a pro the second you get it. There's no learning curve. So, Hookshot is by far the most popular answer, which doesn't mean that you're like basic or anything, but I think it is, other than the ocarina, I think it is the most obvious one. I didn't think everyone would have the same answer with that question.
Well, the other answer I could think of was, I can't remember the name of it, but the blue cane that turns you invisible in Link to the Past.
Ooh. So you would like to be invisible. Now, here's the question. If you're invisible, does that mean you can pass through things, or you're just not able to be seen?
I think it's more of an invisible and less of an intangible thing.
Gotcha. Right. So you're not ethereal.
No.
You're just not visible to the naked eye. Okay. That's cool. I wonder why. I've always thought about invisibility. I don't know if that would be a top tier power for me. Why would you want to be invisible?
Just because sometimes you have to get out of a conversation. You don't want to be too awkward about it, so the person could turn away and then, boom, invisible, and they go, where'd they go? It's very Batman type of power to have.
I love that. That's really good. Okay.
Oh man, you just opened Pandora's box.
A giant treasure chest with all the sound effects. It's there, and you can use it right now, and you are an expert at it. Like, you, out of the box, know what to do with it.
Okay, I know what to use. The double claw shots from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, okay. That's really cool. Double claw shots.
Yeah, and the reason why I picked the double claw shots is because A, will allow me to fulfill my fantasy of being Spider Link. Nice. And secondly, because come on, double claw shots. You know how versatile double claw shots are? You can grab stuff from you can grab stuff from yards away. You can swing through the trees in your local neighborhood. If you need to get up with a ladder, we got a ladder. I'm gonna use a double claw shot to get up there. What are you, nuts?
See, wasn't that fun? We talked about hook shots. I got spoiled on Wind Waker. A variety of fun things happened during this episode. Thank you so much for checking it out. Check out the show notes for all the information if you want to support the show, either through social media or sharing an episode or writing a review or all the fun things all the other podcasts ask you to do. And until next time, thank you so much for listening to A Gamer Looks at 40, and continue being awesome.